Okay, so good morning, guys. It's been a while since my last I don't want to call them lessons, but more so like insights. It's been a while since my last verbal insight. And I do want to keep going with this because this is something that Yah has told me to do. Like I said, just having my own internal conflicts about doing this. But I know that this stuff has to really go forward. So, now here are some basic characteristics of the true Israelites. 1. We know that the old world was completely covered in black bodies. It was absolutely and positively normal for everybody to be black. It was very abnormal to see someone who had pale skin as compared to what it is today. Pale skin is looked at as the most appealing and the most appeasing. And back in the olden times, you were likely leprous, or it was a mark or a sign that one could not be killed, or you too were from Esau. Okay? Also, we know that the Israelites were able to hide in Egypt among the Egyptians. The Egyptians were always known to have dark skin. As compared to what they call these modern Egyptians, these white people, these mixed people, that's not what they look like, okay? Also, the Israelites were a special people. We were the only people who were given the Torah and the scrolls and the law. Nobody else had to abide by that. The nations, as they were referred to, had their pick of whoever they wanted to praise. But Israel, no, you have Yah and only Yah, okay? You have these laws and statutes and commandments, okay? We were placed above all of the other nations and set apart to do things that others were not required to do. And that includes everyone, all of the Gentiles, everyone that came from Japheth, and everyone that came from Ham. Okay? Gentile is a broad term. Actually, no, the Gentiles are ascribed to Japheth's descendants. So the Gentiles all came from Japheth, okay? And Ham, that's where these African races came from. Another big characteristic of the Israelites was given by Yah himself. He marked us with a curse. Deuteronomy 28 outlines those curses, okay? If you go to Deuteronomy 28, I believe it starts at 15 through the rest of 48, it outlines all of the stuff that would happen in the dissension of Israel once we transgressed the law. The law was transgressed immediately with the introduction of Jesus, the God, okay? Jesus, the God, in the image of Caesar, is the abomination of desolation. So if you are to go through and read all of Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 48, you will see all of the different markers within the curse. But there is one point in particular that is within the curse, that Israel would forget her heritage and who she is and the land that she came from, because really our land is a part of our identity. It's a part of our heritage, and we were going to forget all of that. But Yah has actually shown me that even that part was by design, okay? So a part of that, us forgetting our heritage and our culture and the land, would be wrought by our enemies. All right, our enemies are going to come against us and pluck us off the land and move us to the four corners of the earth. And they would basically take over the land like it was theirs to begin with. And we would forget who we are through them, is what I'm getting. But even that part of their plan was, because you see, our enemies are essentially being allowed to do all of these horrible and heinous things to us. Not even essential. They are being permitted to do these things. This was the reason for their creation in general. God tells us that they are vessels of wrath. These vessels of wrath were brought against us to bring us down to where we are now. It's peculiar to find that these same Gentiles that vex us are being allowed to do so simply because the fact that they are vessels of wrath. But they will be destroyed in the end, just as the Bible says. Vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. They were made, their entire inception was to come against the Israelites and destroy us into oblivion, just so God can come and destroy them at the end. Actually, these vessels of wrath and the downfall of Israel was actually planned. It was a scheme. The Gentile nations and all of the nations outside of Israel actually conspired together. Actually, if we turn to Psalms 83, they sought together, all of them. And that verse, let me turn to this verse right now, as a matter of fact. We turn to Psalms 83, verse 4. They said, "Come, let us destroy them as a nation. Then no one will remember the name of Israel anymore." So not only did they sought to destroy us in a literal sense, like destroy the land literally, but also they sought to erase our name from history. Erase our name from history so that the future descendants of Israel would not know who they are or where they came from. All of those people are outlined. The families of Edom and the Ishmaelites. The Ishmaelites, they aren't supposed to be our brothers, right? The Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagrites, the people of Bablos, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, and Tyre. Even Assyria has joined with them. That is everybody. Okay? Everybody outside of Israel. It goes on to say, further in verse 12, they said, "Let us take for ourselves the pasture lands that belong to God." And you see, I think that is really why God put me on this random blurb right here. Because I've seen God brought to me that the promised land is actually in the Americas. He brought that to me, and I resented that. I took that. I didn't accept it at first. I thought it was hogwash. But the scriptures are very, very clear. Very clear about what happened. What really happened. And also that they would try to hide the fact that this happened. Honestly speaking, who is known to destroy things, historically speaking. What races are known to destroy? Who invented the atomic bomb? Okay, who marks their history by wars? Gentiles, white people. Things are not looking too good for you. Now, the Bible tells us clearly that they said, "Let us take for ourselves the pasture lands that belong to God." And everybody likes to, I'm sorry, I see that people are just having a very difficult time really believing that America, that some of the North and South and all of Middle America, this is the promise. This is our land. This is where we were. We were plucked off of this land and taken into the four corners of the earth. Many verses in the Bible state that we would lose our heritage, history, and our land. You see, our history, heritage, and land are all very, very intimately tied together. Our heritage and the knowledge thereof includes the deed to the land, but you have to study to show yourself approved. It's very important. You got to get in the Bible and study these scriptures for yourself. That is how God speaks to his people, through the scriptures. Now, remembering the crafty counsel of Psalms 83, they all sought together to erase the name of Israel from everyone's memory. So therefore we were overcome in our own land by all of our enemies in all nations. Prospered because of it. They all were confederate. Okay, the downfall of Israel was a worldwide effort. And it was a worldwide effort to keep Israel dumbed down to the knowledge of who she truly is. They did this easily by giving our name, and also our name, by giving our name to somebody else, they gave our blessing to someone else. They changed our historical names that prove that we've always dwelt in the Americas. Moses was over here. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness over here. They gave our identities to others. They outright lied. You cannot trust anything that these heathens give you. You have, if it's not verifiable with the scriptures, because really everything that history teaches, the Bible teaches it as well. It's a history book. That is the purpose of the Bible. It records the history. So everything that they teach you from world history and U.S. history and all the other stuff, most of that stuff already lines up with the Bible because it's a history book. I really want y'all to check out the Mayan history. That is us, okay? The Mayans were Hebrews. They spoke Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew. That is an identity that they gave to somebody else. You see, they tied our history to somebody else, severed it from our memory. We could never even fathom that those were actually the Israelites the entire time. Check out the Mayan history and tell me that what they went through doesn't line up exactly and precisely with the accounts of the Israelites. Now, I'm going to move on further from this, because that wasn't really the purpose of this lesson, is to focus on the fact that the Americas is really the promised land. That's not what we're going to focus on, but really do some research on that too, because it was a reason for y'all to tell me to put that in there. So clearly, if we are the true Hebrews, black man and black woman in America, black man, black woman scattered to the four corners of the earth, those that are in Europe, those that are in Africa, those that are in Australia, wherever you are, because we are scattered to the four corners of the earth. If we are the true Hebrews, then who is that over there in that fake Israel? Because first off, that is not Israel. Ask yourself this. Do you really believe that the God who created the whole earth and gave Japheth's seed the cold areas and Ham's descendants the hot areas, only gave Shem, his beloved, the apple of his eye, that small plot of land in the so-called Middle East? You really believe that? Our portion, biblically speaking, in Genesis, Shem's portion was bigger than what Japheth and Ham had combined. I'd wager that half the world belonged to Shem and his descendants. The facts are, if the area and the land is temperate, it belongs to us. But remember that when Israel fell, our dominion was lost. We don't even recognize this land. We don't even claim it. You guys are praying for the land that belongs to somebody else. Revelations 3:9 tells us quite plainly that those people over there in air quotes Israel are the synagogue of Satan and liars. And I need y'all to know that that is as literal as it can be. They are the literal synagogue of Satan. You see, modern religions all stem from the Roman Catholic Church. All of these religions have their respective Messiah or God that they are serving and have been serving for hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of years. You see, all these religious people and religious objects and deities that they give their praise to is not Yah. There is only one God, Yah. Only one creator, Yah. But they, in their pagan ways, praise many. All of these deities the heathens praise are the same demons of old in Babylon that they praised back then. Their names have only been changed and retranslated from the Greek to from the Roman to the Greek to all of these different translations and new names given to these same deities. But these are the one and the same fallen who came with Satan to steer men the wrong way. These are who the heathen praise. Apollyon. He has all of these different names. Satan didn't come down here by himself. He had a whole host that came with him. And in that time when that happened, those heathens began giving thanks and praise to them when they came down here. Mystery Babylon is not a mystery at all. It's just the heathen giving the praise and thanks to the fallen, the adversaries of Yah. If you're still in these religions, you're guilty of the same. Period. The history of the Roman Catholic Church speaks for itself. Under the Roman Catholic Church, the abomination of desolation was set up. White Jesus. That's blasphemous in regard to the entire white race, because they whitewashed all of Israel's history and blasphemed it, saying that it was them, saying that they are God's first love and chosen. Well, actually, they personified it into this white Jesus that y'all giving thanks and praise to, who is literally Satan himself. From the minute that the Roman Catholic Church set up that picture of white Jesus in Israel, in America, when they came over here to start colonizing what was not theirs to colonize, they brought that picture of that white Jesus and set it up in our temple. And that was the beginning of the dissension of Israel. The very second that the abomination of desolation was set up, the minute that they put that picture of white Jesus in the temple, Israel was done for. Done for. From that very moment, that was the beginning, the birth of that lie. That white people are God's chosen. That is a biblical doctrine, a doctrine of men that they implanted right there. And that is the basis of the Roman Catholic Church in general. The abomination of desolation was the birth of Christ. The birth of the Roman Catholic Church began the age-old lie, the foundational lie that lies. Okay, think of the success of white people as a pyramid of lies. Each layer is a new lie presented to and accepted by the world, with the base, the very, very bottommost base being that they are the chosen. Once they had that base set up, you have to understand that the potential for molding the world became endless. They were able to fill in the pyramid, which is really just years. Think of it as years, more and more years. Each layer is a new century, new year, new something, to where there's a new lie being introduced that's being built on top of an old lie, and then a new lie, a new layer of lies being. This is the structure that their world was built on. It's a world of lies. But remembering that the foundation is that white people are the chosen. Now, they were able to fill in the rest of these, like I said, they were able to fill in the rest of the pyramid, each layer with lies, until you get to the top. Their crowning is the arrival of the Antichrist. the false Messiah, who is anyone and everyone that is not Yah, that is coming to save them. Because God said that they are vessels of wrath, made to be destroyed. They were made to destroy just so that they can be destroyed. But you see, this Messiah that they have created for themselves is supposed to intercede and stop them from being destroyed. He does not exist. He's not real. So therefore they feel like they just gonna make him, okay? So that's the real Antichrist. And it's Jesus, okay? Because Yah is the only deliverer. No one can deliver from his hand. Nobody. There's nobody standing next to him. There's nobody sitting next to him. It's only him, okay? It goes much, much more deeply than this. Like, this is really, really just the tip of the iceberg. Like, the deception goes so deep. Y'all couldn't even possibly imagine. They've had hundreds and hundreds of years to do this. And the head is soon approaching. I really need y'all to understand that Israel, we have real enemies out here. We have real enemies, okay? Them same ones that y'all thinking is gonna help y'all, and no, honey. No. It is imperative to study and show thyself approved, because our redemption draws nearer every day. Time is really short. But the enemy is still constantly laying traps every single day. The devil is not going to stop just because his time is almost up. He's working overtime. And so is Yah. He's working overtime to get these nuggets out. The truth comes to smack you in the face every single time. Wake up. Those jarring revelations are Yah screaming at you. But you know he's not going to wait forever. He's not. I really hope that this is pretty well received. Again, I do promote and ask for questions. I don't know. Discussions and questions are definitely encouraged. I said I didn't really go very deeply. I don't even, in fact, I tried to be a little bit more organized, but clearly I wasn't. I had all of this time to get this stuff together, and I still threw it together last minute. You know what? I'm going to make a promise that my next one is going to be more organized than this one. Honestly, I think there might be really a part 2 to this, because I really think I could get much more deeply into this. Alright. Have a blessed day.